Okay, welcome back everyone to another special episode of Yoda's Hut. I'm Bill. I go by Yodaman on the boards. And once again, I'm joined for commentary by Derek. Hey, Derek, how's it going?
Doing all right.
And we've also got a special guest with us tonight. We've got Ben, who goes by pantsyg on the board. Hey, Ben, how's it going with you tonight?
Doing great.
All right, so we are back here at the Store Championship from Gamers Armory in Cary, North Carolina in June 2017. I am on the right in this game, playing my version of a Spark deck against Ben. That's why one of the reasons why he's kind enough to join us for commentary. He's playing a Navy deck over there. If you want to go ahead and run down your deck list, if you remember, I know it was fairly standard Navy as we get going here.
Yeah, it's standard. It's Tarkin, Gladiators, Chimera, and some other two of.
Endor Entrapment, I think, right? Or Might. What'd you
Might
say?
of the Empire.
Yeah.
Well, I said Chimera. But
yeah.
then one of an Extrabol and one of Yularen, and then another two of that I'm currently
Oh, did you
ranking
have the
on.
Did you have the
Terror?
Death Star? Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
had the Death Star.
Duh, of course.
Yeah. And so I had my Spark deck was this core Spark 8, as I like to call it, 2 Last Warrior, 2 May the Force Be With You, 2 Spark of Rebellion, 2 Haunting the Empire, and for my Flex Pods, I put in a Secret of Yavin 4 and a False Report. And so,
Yeah, spoiler alert, that false report is really good.
yeah, and so it
Yep.
looked like you started off pretty good there with Tarkin Doctrine and Extrabol and Endor Entrapment. And I got
It's not bad.
Spark, Last Warrior, and May the Force Be With You.
So I would have liked to see Might of the Empire with Gladiator on the first turn. But
Yeah, and I'm going to play Yoda. You say Yoda, and the dial go up to 2. I think I forgot to click my dial. Oh, that's right. I remember that game. I looked with Spark, and Yoda was on top.
Yeah.
I was like so close as I'm jumping on my cards
Yeah,
there.
You'd rather get him for 2, though.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to find Yoda real easy. He's right on top of my deck. And what did you put out? Looks like a Gladiator and
And an engineer.
an Engineer. Okay. Yeah. So
So this game was a lesson for me in how gladiators are not the I win button.
well,
They're the I win edge battles button, but they won't do all the work on their own.
yeah. So
They don't kill stuff. They're
I
good
was
at
going to go
focusing
after
stuff. They don't
Tarkin
kill it.
Doctrine. You made me pay, and I actually went ahead and pay. I don't
Yeah.
think I had much in my hand that I cared about saving.
Not really sure why I blocked in this one. I must have had some garbage in my hand that I wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, because since he's seek to get Yoda, if you lose Edge, you're losing the Gladiator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it because I had an Endor Entrapment out, so I could always block the damage.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So you actually won Edger. It looked
Mhm.
like you put in the tactical planning, which wasn't going to do anything against Yoda, at least. I remember
think the
thinking
goal
it
here
was,
is
and then
just-
you told me it wouldn't. So Yoda's going
The
to
goal
take a
was just
damage.
to prevent 2 damage to my objectives, which, I don't know, seems worthwhile.
Yeah. So I committed Yoda. May the force be with you. Freed him up, and I took balance back. But Thal is at 3.
All right. And so here I've done the Navy ramp thing, but as would happen the rest of the tournament, I didn't draw anything to ramp into.
Oh wow.
What I found is that this deck is really sick if you have a Chimera in your hand turn 1 or 2 and 2. Otherwise, it really struggles.
Hmm. And there's another Gladiator. That's not too bad. And I'm
Not
going to try to
terrible.
spark, and I sparked in a Children of the Force. So.
But again, like here's the thing that makes Spark so good against Navy. These gladiators don't kill stuff. They've got tactics, but your board just keeps growing to this level that I can't really keep
Yeah.
a control over.
The key to Navy and Spark is moment of triumph. It's whether you get it or not has a large impact on whether or not you win or lose.
Yeah, and whether or not they spark into, 2 drops or they're, Zeb, Hera, Kanan kind of guys
Yeah.
who are immune to Moment of Triumph.
And then you
I
just-
remember, I think in this game I did a Moment of Triumph, but I got super greedy with it. I wanted him to get more 2 drops out. I think that might have cost him.
Yeah, and you played Rule by Fear, which doesn't hit the board as much anymore, but against a Spark deck, that's not too bad because
I mean, that was my garbage hand. I was like, I got these resources, I got to spend them on something.
yeah,
This thing is a
and
terrible
I
card.
actually kept balance there thanks to Yoda, so probably do a damage to Tarkin Doctrine, I would think.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the long downhill slide into your superior board position.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking at your board right now. It doesn't look too bad with that rule by fear. I mean, if I spark into something, it's just going to go to my hand.
Yeah.
So
if it's Hera.
yeah. Well,
Who is,
even
I
like
think,
the
best
cheap
rule by
stuff.
fear
Yeah,
target.
maybe I can get Kanan out, or my secret freeholders tech that you probably didn't have any idea I had in my deck at this point.
No, I remember you pitched a slicing in at one point, and I was like, nuts, freeholders. But I couldn't
Yeah.
do anything about it because I needed my edge hand.
Right. I think I waited to pitch it because I was trying to, kind of hide it as long as I could until I just didn't have a choice, and then I might have thrown it in an edge battle or something. And then I played Ghost. I remember having some other options there, but I figured if I played Ghost, you couldn't bounce it. So
It's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely a nerf that Rule by Fear needed, but it makes it pretty sad to play.
yeah, that's a good thing with Hera. I mean, you could bounce Hera. You certainly could have bounced Yoda. You could bounce most of those things, but Zeb, Ghost, Kanan, the freeholders I actually have in the deck, you weren't going to bounce them with Rule by Fear.
And that's the surprising thing about this deck is that, you kind of look at the matchup with Navy and you're like, okay, Moment of Triumph, Rule by Fear. They look like counters to Spark. But in a lot of situations, they're a lot better in theory than they are in practice.
Yep. And
just because there are big units in this deck.
I think
Well, the thing with like Tarkin, for example, how Tarkin just can break things by shutting down your best unit. If you get enough good units out there, Tarkin can't handle them all by himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it looks like I'm going to swing with Ghost, and I think you tried to use Tarkin Doctrine. I couldn't pay, so now I'm going after an Exorbull. And you're blocking with
it. Just spread out the damage a little bit.
Yeah, you're blocking with a Gladiator, and I just put one in. The seeds would be really good right now.
Seeds for you? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was definitely worried about it.
I had a target. You had a
bad.
Battle of Endor, which you won anyway, just because you had the edge one. I don't remember.
Oh, that's right. And it's 2 because I've got the Endor Entrapment.
Yeah, you had Endor Entrapment. So I guess I was thinking here you were probably going to focus Ghost, so you didn't die, but you didn't, because I was forgetting you could sack something with Endor Entrapment, so you saved the Gladiator.
And so there I pitched a Moment of Triumph.
Yeah.
Which might have ended up being a mistake. Although we'll watch how many 2-drops come down on your side of the board.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just the Children of the Forest, which...
Yeah, I was thinking you didn't have much stuff for me to hit with it.
Right.
So I didn't want it clogging my hand. And I think I drew some stuff that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to use my resources, so I wasn't going to save 2 for Moment.
Yeah. I think that's another thing about the Spark decks now that Hera's out too, and obviously with Kanan, is it can withstand Moment of Triumph a lot better because you've got some of these bigger units that, you might lose a bunch of your chuds, but you're probably not losing everything. And there's a mouse droid, and
You let me have it.
Yeah, after I realized, oh, wait, Ghost isn't Spectre, it doesn't just automatically stop you.
This would be pretty nutty if it was Spectre. And that's the other thing too about a Spark deck is like a lot of the units are really good with May the Force. Ghost, big elite 3-pip thing, Kanan pseudo elite, Hera pseudo elite, and has tactics.
Yeah.
So there's Chimera.
Yeah.
And I breathed a bit of a sigh of relief because Chimera is capable of getting work done with good edge. So.
Yeah, and you played another control room. You said you kept drawing them every turn, it seemed like.
Almost every turn. So at this point, I'm feeling not super great because I'm worried about how many times you're going to hit Spark. You really want to see Tarkin early in this matchup to shut off those shenanigans if you can.
Yeah.
And I'm also not feeling super great about having to commit Chimera because I know Seeds hasn't been played yet.
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Yep. And then I think that might have been where I pitched the slicing in.
Yep, there it is.
And I probably said, how many cards do you have in your hand, Ben?
Yeah, I probably made a remark, something like, oh, nuts, freeholders.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's probably what I'm about to play here.
Speak of
Yep,
the devil.
there's a freeholder.
Such a good unit. That set never gets old.
Yeah, so I played it for 4. I mean, hey, certainly you like to get them cheaper than that, but for 4, they're a pretty good unit.
4, they're an astronomically good unit. I mean, they're probably worth 5. They're basically Chimera stat line.
Yeah.
So.
And there's the nudge, putting the dial back to 3.
Yeah. A freelance slicer. So now I'm kind of regretting pitching that Moment of Triumph because I'm seeing.
Right.
I think three units, including a nudge, is a pretty good moment.
Yeah, and you actually chose to use your rule by fear there. I was a little surprised about that. I think I had Hera in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wouldn't have been able to play her the way my resources were. I guess I could have with Last Warrior, but I figured if I played Hera, you were just going to bounce her, and so
I think
when you bounced that slicer, I was happy.
Yeah, that was probably a mistake. I think I did that because I didn't have the other Moment of Triumph.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to get some damage off the board.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could take the hit.
Well, it makes sense too because you didn't have the resources to replay him.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
So, and now I can use Tarkin Doctrine to kind of make sure you can't pick off a soft objective. But I mean, your board state is just getting out of control. And you don't even attack.
I didn't even attack. I just committed the nudge and took balance back.
So
I was thinking I wanted to build up a board.
So, and this is a point that I think a lot of people who play Spark and maybe don't do so well are missing. The deck is really good at sticking units on the board. So you don't even have to attack, because what you can do is, if you've got a critical mass of units and you send in an attack, even if some stuff gets focused, like looking at my board, I'm not going to kill anything. I've just got tactics to save me.
Right.
So if you've got a ton of units you can send in an attack, you can get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned with the Spark decks, it's better to be a little patient and just kind of wait till you can really overwhelm stuff.
Absolutely.
And plus, like I said, I was even sitting there thinking that if you actually hit a Moment of Triumph, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal for me right now.
No, you're not losing anything significant.
Yeah.
So I hit another control room, Mouse Droid, and Yularen. So I'm able to remove some damage here. But that's about it.
Yeah, and you put it on Spark. That makes sense. So many people, too, I think when they see May the Force be with you, they just automatically go after it. If Spark's out, that's got to be your target on Dark Side.
Yeah, there's no question about that. May the Force only works as long as you've got Force cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all 3 of yours are on the board. I'd just assume you keep May the Force at this point.
Right.
So what I am worried about, I feel like I can't go attack to remove Spark because I know that there's a false report in there somewhere. And I think, even if I was worried about false report, I think I should go try to destroy it because he'll get a free freeholder, and that's it.
Right.
Whereas it would kind of clear up his board a little bit for me if it did trigger. So
right.
I've got a lot of resources to replay stuff.
I just pointed to what I had committed. I think you must have asked me how many I had on the Force. And I said
which is
10.
some astronomical.
Although I think I initially said 9. I'm like, no, wait, 10. Ghost has 3, not 2. So.
Ghost is a really good unit. I haven't played nearly enough with Hera, but I'm kind of chomping at the bit too.
Yeah.
The Spark deck is on my list, and I want to see if I can make like a Mono Rebel thing, what she does for them.
Yeah, so I did the damage to Exorable.
Yeah, I didn't attack. I just deployed. Again, because me attacking just means I have fewer defenders, and there's no way for me to kill your stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, I was considering taking a Sith variant to this tournament, and I kind of wish I had, just because it's able to kill big things.
Well, one thing you're not running in your deck that is kind of a standard, I think, in the Navy deck is the Golan defense platforms.
So I cut them. Which I think was a huge mistake. Given the number of resources that I constantly had, like I've got 3 open resources on my side of the field. Cutting those Golans was a major error, I think. I can't remember what I cut them for.
You know what's funny that you just said that is, I remember thinking when you had those resources open, like you're saying now, it's, I didn't realize this, that it was because you just didn't have anything to do with them. I was just assuming you had a tractor beam. And so if I tried to focus Chimera, you were just going to tractor beam off of it, and then...
I know I had a tractor beam at one point during the game.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's now or later. That's a good point. I mean, when you're looking across the table, you never know if the other guy just doesn't have anything in his hand or if he's saving for an event.
Right.
So even if that's not true for this turn, I remember consistently thinking, I wish I had bigger things to spend my money on. And there was a guy at this tournament. He was running Devastator, which would have been a great pick.
Yeah. So I just played the freelance slicer, and I looked at the top card to see if I could cheat in an enhancement. I think I sparked in the Guardian, if I remember right.
You did, yeah.
So I got a few more juicy targets if you get Moment of Triumph now.
Yep. Now I'm feeling a little silly about pitching it earlier, but that's 3 turns worth of a card in my hand. And there's Hera.
Yeah.
And now everything goes downhill fast.
Right. I had saved her. Yeah, I was pointing out I have influence with Last Warrior. That's a huge part of this deck. Especially because I was locked into running Smugglers when I decided I wanted to put in the Freeholders.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that, because a lot of versions of this deck run Rebel, so you don't get screwed.
Yeah, there is a story behind how I ended up with Freeholders, but...
Well, I think the 3-color version, even though Hera is super important and all the stuff in that set, part of the reason people will still run the Smugglers because of stuff like the bow rifle, being able to constantly replay that out of the discard. Mm-hmm. It's just not something, not a resource you want to get locked out of.
Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah. So
go
ahead.
So I personally, when I run decks like this, I run Rebel, so that, like, I usually don't want to see my Rebel objective, so I know that I've got the Rebel resource there, even if I don't hit Influence or something. Yeah. But that's a valid point too. If you always want to be able to play your bow rifles.
Yeah, because I mean they're such a big part of attacking and with the extra gun and the blast that you can throw it onto so many different targets.
Yeah.
So looking at this board state, we can see that despite the fact that I've had a ton of resources for a while, I've only got, 11, 14 resources worth of stuff, not counting my resource enhancements, where Yodaman's got all these units. Look at all this stuff. It's like he's trying to puzzle out how to attack, and I think what he could do at this point is just be like, pick his 3 biggest dudes, send them in an objective, pass turn, do that 3 turns in a row and win.
Yeah.
Well, he's got Guardian now, too, which is the potential for shielding a unit.
Shielding and protect, and the only, Navy needs to use guns to kill things because they don't have any kill events.
Right.
Outside a Moment of Triumph, so that makes a real challenge, and I'm in hot water here.
Yeah.
I know this game is lost on my side.
I'm sending in the team. I'm not sending in Ghost because I wanted to be able to focus Ghost if I needed to save something. That was why I didn't put it in there.
To protect Hera, yeah.
Right, yeah, to protect Hera if I needed to. Because I figured I was going to shield Yoda. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's actually Rebel unit or character. Or any character. And I think I shielded Yoda. I think I was waiting to figure out what to do with the shield. I shielded Yoda. Because then you can't lock Yoda down. Yoda's going to be able to shoot. Barring a surprise Piet in your deck with a Seeds, but
yeah. So I'm sitting over here thinking, what am I going to do? Oh, and this is the part where I almost totally I totally misplay right here with Tractor Beam.
Yeah, well, I remember.
I can't do anything about Yoda. I can't do anything about a lot of your stuff, really.
Right. Well, and I remember, too, that I attacked Tarkin Doctrine thinking you wouldn't want me to attack it, but I wanted to get that stupid thing off the board. But I figured, worst case scenario, you booted me out and I get an extra shield. And I think you realized it at first. You were almost ready to use Tarkin Doctrine, then you said, wait, you'll get another shield. So I'm not going to do that. And you blocked with everybody but Yularen back there.
Yeah, it would have made my life harder, for sure, if you got an extra shield, but I don't even know that you needed it. I don't. I'm blocking with everyone because I have to, I think. Yeah,
but I didn't know what you had for edge, so. And I'm assuming you have a Tractor Beam. That is in my whole thought process here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile. And then we had a very interesting discussion on what Tractor Beam does with Ghost.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I realized that if I tried to Tractor Beam onto Ghost, he would just cancel it. And I would, I needed that token off of Chimera more than I needed the, more than I needed you to be focused.
Right, yeah, so this is when it happens. I'm about to put the token on Ghost, and I start reading it, and I'm like, wait, it's Rebel unit or character.
Yeah. So what I failed to realize about Ghost is it's not another rebel unit. It's any rebel unit,
Right.
Including itself. And so I wasn't about to take the event back. Well, I was about to try to take the event back. I was like, no, I got to play it out.
Well, I would have let
You
you.
know,
I mean, I understood.
I know you would have, but it wasn't. I'm trying not to do that. So
Yeah.
I play it anyway. I end up focusing one of my own dudes because I thought it's pretty likely that you're just going to kill one of them before it gets to swing anyway. So.
Right. Yeah, because I couldn't cancel you tractor beaming onto your own gladiator. But
Right.
that was awesome when I realized it. I'm like, oh, well, if you try to do it to Ghost, I can
Yeah,
focus
exactly.
Ghost and it'll just stay right on your Chimera.
So I focus one of my guys. My thought process here was you've got tactics enough that only one of them is going to get to strike anyway, because Yoda can kill one of my units and focus the other.
Well, you
so
still
I killed
had
the Guardian because you're just going to block.
You still had an Endor entrapment out though too. So that's actually, I think I'm almost positive I just shot the other gladiator.
And so here I made a big misplay here. I could have put the focus and the 3 damage onto Yoda, and you would have either had to kill or focus him.
Well, I could have
Because that would have
protected.
been,
Not with
well,
the
you can only
Guardian
protect for 2.
Right, but
Yeah,
Yoda
Yoda has 2 health as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I went to shoot the gladiator because I decided I was going to shoot the guns first. So Yoda had 4 guns, and I was going to see, did you have another Death Star to actually protect all the damage with Endor entrapment? Because if you did, I was just going to focus the gladiator then, but I wanted to try to shoot it first.
Yeah, I think I was thinking I didn't want you to just focus that gladiator because then, or I didn't want you to just shoot the gladiator because then you've triple focused Chimera, and if I don't draw an engineer, then I'm super hosed next turn.
And you
which I might
pitched the
be
Death
anyway.
Star. Yeah, you pitched
So I
the Death
pitched the
Star to
Death Star to
protect
block
it,
it.
but then I just end up focusing it. And then I have enough guns, I think, left between Hera and...
Yeah, and I think you ended up triple focusing Chimera anyway because Hera also has a...
Yeah, I'm
active-
pretty sure I did that.
So.
Yeah, so I think I did the blast first because I was trying to figure out... Yeah, I got Yoda's blast, I got the Slicer's blast. The Freeholders will blow it up.
And so for those watching, this is a really good example of why waiting until you can attack with a big group of units is often a good idea if you can afford to pull it off.
Yeah. And then I did shoot the gladiator that wasn't committed twice with Hera and the Freeholder. And then I think I debated, do I want to focus Yularen, just have a free board to swing at, or focus Chimera? And I'm pretty sure I decided to focus Chimera, because that would have been
I think Chimera is the choice.
Yeah.
Yularen, with only 1 card in my hand for Edge, he's not doing anything.
Right. But I didn't really want to kill Yularen, because at that point, I didn't know you only had 1 in your deck. I'm thinking if I kill him, you might just play another one. So, yeah. So I did manage to blow up 1 there, but I had to go almost all in.
I mean, the good news for you is that I'm not in really a position to capitalize. You've got a huge board. I don't have a huge board. I do have a lot of resources, but if I play a bunch of stuff, I'm going to lose whatever edge battle I have to fight.
Yeah. And I sent Ghost and the children in, and I asked if you were going to defend, but you didn't. So I blew up Inexorable because it already had the 1 damage on it. I would have liked to have had enough to get rid of Endor entrapment, but I didn't. And then I realized after that, I'm like, oh, wait, I already got 3 things committed. I've got the nudge to defend. Oh, great.
Right. But I mean, at this point, the dial isn't high enough for me to just win the game, so you're looking like you're in a pretty good spot. You triple focus the Chimera, which is a huge deal. Yeah, basically, at this point in the game, if it wasn't a tournament game, I would just scoop here.
Yeah. Right. I think you told me I forgot to click my dial at some point. It was 4, and now it's going to 5. So we got it. You had your dial right. I could see it. I don't know. You flipped up another Endor entrapment, and there's your might.
Yeah, I always want that in the opening hand. It's not so fun to see later in the game.
And I remember thinking, okay, you only got 9 resources. You can't play the Death Star. But I know you had just pitched 1. I couldn't remember if you pitched the other one already too.
I don't remember if I did or not. I had resources to play a Death Star at one point, and it would have just instantly won me the game. in a different game, but I never drew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you are counting them up, being like, "Can you believe this for you?"
Yeah.
The biggest trap in Star Wars LCG. So here I moment of triumph.
Yet to get that thing into play. Although I haven't played that many games with it yet.
Yeah. So you used the mouse droid, and then you decided a moment of triumph.
Yeah, you cancel it.
Yeah,
you
I
could have handed
canceled.
me a game loss if you would have just let me draw the card.
I wouldn't have done that. I know that's been done apparently in some other events. I would never have done that. I would have said, just put the card back.
So here we're seeing how resilient Spark Deck is against a moment of triumph.
Yeah. I still have Yoda, Ghost, Hera, and the Freeholder.
So a deck that I've seen, not to not talk about this game, but this game is pretty over. A deck that I've seen that I think would do really well is one that includes 2 copies of Jarek.
Okay.
And so you use that, you have a ton of resources, and you just use 4 storms to clear off all this garbage.
Yeah, that would work as long as you can keep balance.
Yeah, that is the trick. But that's a deck I want to try. I think Spark being the top deck for LS right now means that Navy, people who always run Navy need to think about doing other things.
Did you play an engineer? It looks like, and I can't tell what the other thing is.
So that's an engineer. I played a fleet staging area. I forgot to destroy that. Oh, it's a fleet navigator.
Oh, okay. So you got an extra tactics there.
But again, look at all these resources I've got, but nothing big, nothing that'll really sway the game. And all your guys are either elite or Hera, who can pretend that she's elite. So, yeah, it's just no way out.
Well, he does have no blockers right now, so you can go put that third tactics on Yoda. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, the Ghost tactics on Yoda
Ghost is an elite, is he?
Ghost is elite.
Yes.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, and the problem is, Hera can only take ones off of Spectre or Rebel units, I think,
Right.
or is it neutral? Yeah, so Hera can't actually take one off Yoda.
No.
Yeah, my thought process here is that
You just did some damage.
yeah, I send in the engineer because who cares? I can sack him to free up Chimera.
Yeah.
And there is the third focus on Yoda, so that'll help. I should have third focused the Ghost instead, because he's a scarier. He's got more damage, basically.
I thought Hera can remove that though.
No.
From Spectre.
Oh yeah, I thought it was just character, isn't it?
I thought you guys said Rebel.
That's what Ghost does. It protects Rebel unit or any character.
You'd think I remember. I just played the thing.
Yeah. Hera,
Well,
all the Spectres have these weird little effects that make work for certain things but not others. Because Phantom has different targets from Ghost too.
Right.
Oh, you must have done something because Ghost now has 3 focus tokens.
I tractor beamed it.
Oh, okay.
Because it can't focus itself when it's not ready. So.
Yeah. So
You spread a lot of damage out there, but I think I might have gotten rid of Spark and just risked the false report.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. The reason I didn't do it is because, and again, that's probably the way that I'm more likely to win. And honestly, blowing up, hitting false report would be better for me almost, unless he draws the second freeholder and then I just lose.
Well, except I would be able to play out enough stuff to just win. I only need to blow up one objective. Because I would play the freeholder for cheap, and then I could play Ghost too.
That is true. I need somebody on the table.
Right, yeah. So I think you made the right move when you knew I had false report in there. I just double-checked. Hera can only free up a Spectre unit. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So she's only Spectre. Ghost is Rebel unit or character,
right.
I believe.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then what's Phantom? Phantom is yet
Phantom
another.
is friendly Spectre or character.
Okay.
Yeah. And Ghost is Spectre or Rebel unit. Yeah, and then I just played Zeb.
So Ghost can protect other vehicles too. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. And then there's a Guardian.
Oh, here's another Guardian and Zeb. So you've got so much blast on the board. It's just push him across. Game over.
Yeah. I remember thinking, I don't want to do something stupid here. That's what I remember thinking. Do I send everybody in, or do I actually just try to lock down your ships first, and then I get a free board?
I don't even think you need to. You've got so much blast and the shielding from the Guardian. Like, there's no way that I can kill. And I think I said this. I was like, there's no way I can kill any of your guys before they strike
Right.
because of the Guardian of Peace.
Right, but I only had 4 black blast. So I remember thinking, and I think I told you this after the game, I was playing around tactical planning.
Right.
That you would potentially be able to remove like Hera's tactics or
blast,
something, or blast if I want edge, and then if I couldn't kill everything. And I think, I'm looking through this card for it right now.
I've got 1 card in my hand.
Right, but if it's tactical planning, then I'm
tactical
doomed.
planning, I still don't think you lose because you've got enough damage on your guys to kill all my stuff, right?
Well, that's what I
3.
finally realized was I had enough if I sent the Guardian with it. I wasn't going to have enough without the Guardian.
The shield helps too.
Right, because what I was worried about doing was if I sent Hera in and you blocked with something and were able to play the tactical planning, you could stop my tactics, and then I might not be able to kill Chimera. So I was like trying to think of all the possibilities of if you have tactical planning, if you don't have tactical planning, what if you actually have something to save a ship, like that you could pitch with, because you've got Endor entrapment out.
Right.
And then I had a twist.
My last edge card, which turned out to be a 1 pip.
Yeah. So and I had a bunch of pips left. I had like 11 left. Yeah. So that was a
game.
Good game.
I haven't played against one of the like a top level Spark deck before, which basically means I haven't played against a Spark deck that had Yoda in it. And that thing, it just took me totally by surprise. Like, you have to be able to kill their stuff when you're defending.
Yeah.
Either with events or just by having enough damage to eventually remove them. Because if they can just keep putting stuff down, you get to that point where it's just this snowball.
Yeah.
Like that happened in my very next Darkside game too.
I remember thinking this game was closer than it was in retrospect watching it again. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I never managed to get good defensive units out. I had Chimera, a couple defenders. Cutting the Golans was a big mistake. Never seeing Tarkin was kind of a big deal, but
yeah, he helps.
I don't know if it was as big of a deal. Like, I had the resource to use them all the time, but what do you blank when there's all that stuff? So.
Yeah.
I always find it interesting too. I see a lot of people use Inexorable as a 1 of.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to play it either as a 2 of or not at all, because I want either 4 copies of that. If I get that objective out, I want 4 copies of that fate card in my deck.
Yeah.
I also I'm pretty much like every card in the set. I know the pilot is definitely the weakest unit, although I have made use of him in the past. But the capital ship that goes with it and the other guy are all amazing.
So I've been thinking about that, and I was thinking that I should have cut Yularen, both to remove one of the control rooms that I kept drawing, because I was never hurting for resources. But also, because you have so many resources, playing Screed is pretty easy, and he's a bad edge card, so if you can get him into play, you want him in play. Like, before, the only reason not to play him is because he's just kind of expensive for what he does. But if you can get him out there, he's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. So I did bounce back in game 2. So Ben, you and I split in round 1 to start off the tournament.
It was a bit of a bummer. Spoiler alert for the first game that I won in convincing fashion. I was really hoping to come out of that with a sweep, because this is my first tournament in a long, long time. So I was kind of a little nervous about how it was going to go, but. Both these games, really fun time. It's always fun getting matched up with you in these events. Yeah,
it's fun. This is, I guess, the second time we've got to play in like a regular tournament. And the last time it was at the end, like for all the marbles, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was. And last time it was back in the pre-Tarkin meta. I was running Kian Farlander fighters.
Yeah, we had the exact same light side list. We hadn't talked, but we had the exact same list, except I was using the Rebel affiliation, and because even though I had Kian in there, that was my only Jedi thing, and you ran Jedi with it. I remember that.
So, and the funny thing about that game, or that tournament, for those of you who are still listening to us ramble, is that was the last time I've played competitive Star Wars LCG.
Oh, wow.
Was back in that meta.
That's crazy.
Never take anything I say on the forums with any sort of seriousness because I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think you're selling yourself short there, Ben. But well, Derek, since you got to kind of watch it from the outside, Ben and I were involved. Do you have any other thoughts about this second game there with my Spark variant against Ben's Navy?
I mean, Spark just kind of does what it does. Yeah, he just really didn't have anything defensive to where he could stop. He didn't have any guns, and that's why, like you're saying, you're missing the platforms. But things like the early warning system, which is kind of like the pseudo May the Force for Navy, where you can free your guys up also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, the different combinations. Like Yularen, running him. I still run him either as a 2-of or I don't run him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like I've seriously got my Navy deck has 11 pods that I want in it, and I cannot find a good option for one to take out. I can't make up my mind which is the one that does not belong. So. There's just so many different ways you can do things. It's like you said, if you were going to pull Yularen, if you didn't need him in there, well, then you could have thrown in maybe a deploy the fleet if you wanted some extra heavy hitting, with the Star Destroyers in there.
Yeah, deploy the fleet is a good choice. You don't so much need the cost reducer guy.
Right.
Which was my main concern. If I was going to pick another capital ship set, I mean, it is good because it has 2 ships and they have shielding, which are really nice.
And lots of blasts.
And 5 health.
And they can turn into elite. So, but they also don't kill stuff. That's another reason Inexorable is pretty good, is because Demolisher has 2 guns.
Mm-hmm.
So in a pinch, it can blow things up.
I think the version I'm running, I actually, as much as I love Inexorable, I finally took that out. And I think I'm running like 2 Chimera, 2 Yularen, 2 Tarkin, 2 Death Star, the platform, and I think I've got 1 of the Gladiators. And I really want a second one of the Gladiator pod in there, but then I got to pull something else out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But those are like the 11 I want.
It's tough. They have a lot of good stuff, and I think they've got 2 different directions. Like, there's a very clear argument for a very defensive Navy deck and a very offensive Navy deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you want to go. I'm kind of leaning towards the offensive version now, because I think with all these resources, you could possibly hit Spark harder than they can hit you.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've noticed in the last several games I've played with that deck of mine, I don't know how many times I've drawn Enforced Loyalty in my opening hand, and that's the one I bury.
Yeah, what a change. That deck was so huge. Yeah, I think Yularen's time is coming past. I kept him in as a 1-of just kind of as a trick, because I thought people might not see it coming if I never pulled out the thing.
Well, it's still, even without the objective, everything in his set is still good. Mythal's great for his cost. The Mouse Droid, any resource is good, or any card draw is good. Mm-hmm. The Imperial Fist speaks for itself, and then you got a resource, which is good in itself. So there's nothing bad in the set either.
Well, unless your deck is already...
Yeah, even without the objective doing its thing as much.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's decent. I argue that the Yularen, like, a lot of people have been trying to tell me that him and Fist are too situational. I was like, no way, man. Those are huge swings.
I don't think that at all.
They are situational.
They're situational in that they only work 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
That's
the
true.
light side is always attacking. I mean, and all it can take is just one time where you can manage to stop the light side from blowing up an objective when they think they're going to, and you can start throwing that stuff back. Yeah,
Right.
I don't buy that. I mean, it's situational if you're building your deck odd, but if you're building it with Yularen in mind, it shouldn't be situational.
No, that's true. If you're building the kind of offensive version, I can see why he goes.
Right.
if you're building the defensive version, I could see reasons not to run him, but I could see. Well, and it's still the fact that if he's in the deck, then your opponent is playing completely different because they're trying to blow one-shot objectives versus pick and prod at you, and you're totally messing with their strategy as well.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
So,
That's what I did
Cool.
there. I got those two off and didn't leave any damage on just in case. I was certainly thinking about it. And
But you had all the units you needed to do it.
yeah, I was pretty happy with that Spark variant. Like I said, I threw in freeholders was sort of a last minute thing because I was talking with Dr. Mung Mung the night before. I was like, well, what should I run? Everybody's running Spark, but I like I've run freeholders every store championship I've played. I was mainly like the first time I just ran mono smugglers. I didn't even have Yoda. And the second time I ran one with mainly smugglers with freeholders and Yoda thrown in, kind of like that capital ship deck. And he said, yeah, run freeholders. And I said, well, here's a crazy idea. Would it be crazy to throw freeholders in with the Spark stuff? He said, no, that doesn't sound crazy at all. I was thinking you could use some big blast every once in a while, some burst, and maybe catch somebody off guard. And what we had both agreed upon was sometimes the dark side decks have gotten so aggressive they could go in and flip up a false report, not thinking they'd ever see it in a Spark deck. So,
I mean, I could talk for a long time about different versions of Navy and different tech choices for Spark, and like my love of the competitive game was definitely reinvigorated by this tournament, so that was really nice. I'm a little bummed that I can't test more because I feel like there's a lot of like neat stuff going on in the meta, and figuring out kind of what the best deck to run in this situation is like really cool right now.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly my local group is dried up, and I don't get to go to tournaments as much as I'd like. But I don't want to continue rambling because we just had a gameplay video and not a podcast. So thanks for having me on.
That's an excellent. Yeah, well, thanks again for joining us, Ben, for commentary on the game. It was good to get your perspective on things since it was you and me playing against each other, representing the Mos Eisley Mafia there from those who follow Card Game DB and see our reviews. And so thanks for that, Ben. And Derek, thanks as always for joining us for commentary. And I always appreciate your help with everything too here on Yoda's Hut.
Yep, anytime.